You in this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this won't be a piece of cake.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, an internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, and setbacks. If you want to talk to us, you may do so in one of two ways. One, email the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com, or two, slide into my DMs, Bobby Sheehan, LOL, because you know I bring the laughter. But for now, fellow comedian, fellow podcaster, I'm going to go ahead and say it. A good man, Danny Polishchuk.
Hey,
how you doing, big dog?
You're not a morning person?
Oh, I used to be, dude, and then I started doing comedy.
Yeah, it's not conducive.
I got sober 6 weeks later, started doing comedy. So that means for 6 weeks I was a morning person. Just getting up at before the sun even rose.
Oh, you're that kind of morning person, like literally like crack of dawn morning person?
And
is that what defines a morning person?
I don't know, because there are some people that...
Like we know so many people who just wake up at 2 p.m.
Dude, if I wake up at 2 p.m., I feel like such a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's hard to feel good about that.
Yeah, Maxim, can we cut that out, please? I said the S word, which I try not to do.
Okay, no swearing.
Not within the first 30 seconds. I think
right, yeah. You don't have a sharp little intro?
That was my little intro, dude.
No, I mean like a pre-recorded, like, you know, like how a TV show would have an intro or something.
That would be okay. So the reason I do
that gets you out of trouble with YouTube.
So Danny, I don't know how to edit clips. I didn't think that I was going to need to when I started doing comedy.
Yeah, nobody did.
Yeah.
Nobody was like, I have to be good at computers to be good at comedy.
And I am like such a fucking boomer, honestly, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm 33, but I had internet trouble the other day, and my roommate is like, have you tried resetting the network? And I looked him dead in the eye. I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, I'm embarrassed for you. And I was like, I'm embarrassed for myself.
Yeah, that's just the unplug it thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yikes, dude. But I assume you're a morning person because
I'm not.
Oh, you must be very busy today then.
No, I just, you know what? I'm not like I don't love being up in the morning, but again, it's 11 a.m. So, but sometimes like, cause you asked me to do the podcast and then I'll make myself do something in the morning.
Okay.
So that I'm just like, okay, well then I have to be up.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been up anyways, but I would be currently probably dicking around or going to the gym or something. So
I have this new period of my life because I used to always have to set an alarm because if I didn't set an alarm, I would sleep for 12, 13 hours.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Up until very recently, now sometimes my body won't even let me sleep for 9 hours.
Oh.
And I think
they say as you get older, your sleep quality gets worse, although I've yet to experience that.
Oh. Yeah, because for me, I think it's like the stress of life now.
Right.
It's like, hey, dude, you gotta.
Yeah, your brain's like, hey man, we can't sleep for 12 hours.
We have to, even today, especially because I wanted to go to the coffee shop to write before we recorded the podcast, which means I needed to be up at 8:45.
Yeah. And
my fucking stupid brain, every 15 minutes from 7 a.m. to 8:45 was like, are you oversleeping?
Right. Yeah. That's if I ever have a flight to catch my, like, very often, like I'll set my alarm, especially if it's like I have to be up at like 5 and I'll just wake up at 4:30 or sometimes I'll wake up at like 4:58. Like my brain's just like, you missed your flight.
Yeah.
And then I get up, I'm like, oh, I still have 2 minutes.
I'm new to touring and I now know why touring comedians are very unhealthy and unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be for sure bad for you.
Just, driving, constantly eating fast food and not sleeping a lot.
Yeah.
We're like truckers in that way.
Yeah, but you don't, there's now, I'd say, like, you don't have to eat like shit on the road. I feel like there's decent amount of options now. People, they're just choosing to.
You could go to Panera Bread. Panera Bread.
Oh, I was going to say banana bread.
Yeah, you could eat banana bread.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You're a gym guy, you said.
Yeah, I go sometimes, yeah.
Okay, do you have a routine?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like,
do you have a split?
Yeah, I'm doing right now push-pull legs.
Nice. Hell yeah, that's all you need.
But I only do legs once. I only go 5 days a week. Or not only, but I go 5 days a week.
Yeah,
some people are hardcore. They do 6 days and they do that twice. But I don't do legs twice.
Ever since Dr. Mike Israetel, friend of the show, please answer my DMs.
He went on our podcast.
That's amazing.
Dude,
Can you tell him to come on my podcast?
Dude, literally. So I love Dr. Mike too.
Hell yeah.
And I just DM'd him one day on Instagram. I was like, hey man, I've been watching all your videos. And he's just like, cool, thanks. I'm like, if you're ever in New York, come do the Boys Cast. And he's like, I'll be there tomorrow.
Hell
He's
yeah,
like
dude.
randomly, he's like, I'm going to be there tomorrow. And he came and did our podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This was like
He's-
maybe like a month ago.
He's
2 months
very
ago.
funny
Yeah, he's really funny.
in a way that's like, because some like influencers, if you want to call him an influencer, I guess we should say who he is for people that don't know.
He's
who
just
he
like this crazy like workout scientist guy.
is. Mhm.
Yeah.
But he's like manosphere adjacent. I think.
kind of. Yeah.
He'll be like, here's how you get pussy, but it's like
He's
not
like,
in a
his
crazy way.
whole like thing is he's talking about like working out, and he's like, these fucking bitches. He's like, if you want to get these fucking bitches, you gotta, like,
But there's a like a hint of irony.
yeah. It's
and
a
all.
lot. It's like kind of a lot of dad jokey stuff and whatever. But
And he's a healthy
pretty funny.
5'6", which I think is great.
Yeah, and he is jacked,
Dude.
He's so jacked. I mean, he weighs more than me, and he is like 8 inches shorter than me.
Mhm. Yeah, that's and very honest about his drug use.
Oh yeah. He's. I mean, you can't hide it with that head.
So what do you guys talk about on the podcast?
With him, we were just asking him all sorts of. I mean, this is kind of like I secretly asked him on because I'm just like I just have all these things I want to ask him, and I probably like would be bothering him in DM. So partial, but also I'm like he has a YouTube channel, 2 million subscribers. So it's like he'd just be a good guest, and people were pretty pumped about it. But we were just asking him all sorts of stuff, just stuff we had questions about. I don't remember specifically. I don't know, steroids and. Just stuff.
See, I looked into steroids.
Go watch it. Boys Cast episode. I want to say 235.
I think I'm going to go ahead and link it.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, just scroll to the bottom. You'll see the episode.
Yeah.
I looked into doing steroids for 2 reasons. One, out of curiosity.
Yeah.
And 2, because I was seriously considering taking them.
Yeah.
So those
not?
2 things. Yeah, but I decided against it, not because it like makes your heart explode at 35.
Yeah. You know what? That's like, I mean, he did say, because we were like, are steroids bad for you? And he's like, yes, for sure they're bad for you. It's unclear if you can just do like a little, but I think what happens is you get addicted to them because you're like, well, if I stop, then I shrink down. And you're like, I don't want to be like, I want to be fucking huge. So then, yeah, you could kind of like go light and take like just testosterone replacement.
Yeah, I do know some people that someone accused me of doing SARMs the other day.
What are SARMs again?
SARMs, I don't know what they stand for, but they're
It's like
like
a steroid or a peptide or something.
Yeah, I think it's prescribed for like if you're a boy that's like not hitting puberty properly. So it's
So
like
like
basically,
you, basically.
yeah, here's more puberty stuff or whatever.
Sure.
But I was like, hey man, don't accuse me of doing drugs. But then I was like, you think I do drugs? That's
Yeah.
very nice.
That just means you're working out good.
Yeah. It was also like a little infuriating because he's like a tall, handsome guy. So I was like, let me have this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are you accusing me of doing drugs?
Hey man, that's a good thing though. That means you're natty,
Yeah, dude.
but you look like you're juicing.
Do you think people are going to do natty or not videos about us? That would be very funny.
Definitely natty.
Definitely.
I'd have, if this is the physique you get with fucking steroids, that'd be unfortunate.
Dude, I don't know. There could be someone that's such a hard gainer that if they take any like trend or something, that they just look like a normal guy.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure some people don't. I don't know. I think those hard gainers are probably the ones who are the best responders to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be like the opposite. It's like if you are like a really hard, then you're like, you take that shit, and that's how you get like those like Chris Bumstead guys or whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Stuff like that.
You might turn me, dude. I might start doing it.
Dude, you should do it, man.
The thing is,
You'd be
the
most
man
jacked-
tits is what turns the man tits, the acne, the loss of hair.
The acne's bad. You know that guy Sam Sulek
Yeah.
or whatever. You ever see like when he's doing steroids, his back looks like insane.
Ugh.
He gets like this crazy acne, like literally like fucking holes in his back.
But if I know women, they love popping pimples, so maybe that's not a deterrent.
Yeah, it's crazy because like women don't even love dudes who are super jacked. To be honest, like at some point, there's like women prefer your body over
Hell yeah.
like some like Dr. Mike just yoked dude.
Yeah. But he's got maybe I think the great equalizer would be if I have a YouTube channel with 2 million subscribers. Right now I have 455 subscribers.
Hit that
so I'm almost there.
subscribe button.
Guys, please, okay? I can't go back to cold call sales.
That's tough,
I
huh?
was so bad at it. I mean, I was good at it, but it was soul crushing.
Yeah, what were you selling?
It's like so complicated to explain, but basically I want to keep it like kind of vague, but I worked for a company that's like Indeed, like a less successful Indeed, basically.
Okay.
So I was selling ad space to employers.
Okay.
who were already like the most stressed out people anyway. And I would just be like cold calling them, spam emailing them.
Right.
You get like a thick, it was a good practice for comedy though.
Yeah.
Handling rejection and people being mad at you.
Or like pickup artists.
Yeah, dude. I was basically doing pickup.
I wonder if pickup artists make good cold salespeople.
Oh, maybe. Do you think they neg the leads?
I mean, there is like some probably sales version of negging. Like there is probably something that's like the equivalent for sales where you're not like being like, oh, we got a weird asymmetrical face or some shit like to get some girl or whatever. But there's like something where you're like, attacking their business or something in some way.
I think I noticed I was best at sales when I was like a little depressed and I like literally didn't care if they bought something or not.
Yeah.
Like I just knew my boss is in the next room listening. So I had to be talking on the phone, but I didn't really have this like needy energy. I guess it's the same idea.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause I'd be like, they'd be like, well, how many units can I sell? And I'm like, I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. And he's like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll buy it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. What was the worst job you've ever had?
Cutco Knives. I don't know if they have that here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I looked them from Canada. I think it's an American company. Yeah, selling Cutco Knives.
Which is, I mean, is it straight up multi-level marketing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you bought the knives and then you had all these
Well,
knives.
you don't have to buy the knives. Well, you buy the knives like for which I still have the knives. Honestly, that's the one thing about the whole thing is they are great knives. They actually are like great. And they have like a lifetime warranty on them. So it's like my parents bought them, obviously, because that's part of the deal is you just basically make your parents buy them. And they still have them and they've had like issues with them. They send them in and they send them new knives and they're like, so you kind of do have them for life. Maybe I should get Cutco to sponsor my podcast.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay. So how long did you do that for?
Like a year. Yeah. It was the thing is you run out of people. Like this is like not pre-internet, but definitely pre-social media. But like you just run out of people essentially where you're like, yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is they just want you to use your personal network of people, and then you're just like, I don't want to ask every one of my family members to buy knives.
I think what makes me really sad is if I get a Facebook message from like a girl I went to high school with.
Oh yeah, all chicks are in on multi-level marketing schemes.
And it's a boy how the turntables situation. Because I'll be like, is this hot girl from high school messaging me? And then I'll look at her pictures and she's not hot anymore. Yeah, that's very satisfying.
Big win.
I'm like, ooh,
fucking knew it.
Yeah. And then she's like, can you give me money too? And not even to see like pictures of her feet. She just says Cutco Knives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or some bullshit. Some teas, diet tea or some shit.
Oh, I feel so bad for people that are like, what's going to make me lose weight? Drinking a certain juice.
I mean, if you only drink it.
Yeah. Dude, I had a conversation with somebody and she was like, I know I'm going to lose. She's like a bigger girl. And she's like, I know I'm going to lose a lot of weight because I'm only going to be eating 700 calories a day.
Yeah. It's
and I'm like, you can't, I'm like, you're going to die.
No, you're not going to die. It's like if you have the most willpower on earth, you can maybe do that for like a month or something. But like eventually you're not going to be able to keep doing that or you're going to want to like go out or something. And then that's the end of that.
I think.
And then you go back to eating 7,000 calories a day. And then.
Dude, how many calories does Dr. Mike eat? Did he get into that?
We didn't ask him, but I follow him online. I bet. Well, he probably like when he's. The thing is honestly the thing that like I never got, which is the smartest thing, because it's like I'm a bit overweight and trying to deal with it or whatever, and you just go on these like diets where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna like diet, and I wouldn't have an end date.
Right.
Like I'm like, there's no end in sight to this where he's just like, no, he's like, you die for a bit and then you go and you bulk up and then you kind of go through like cycles and then that way you're not like killing yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes way more sense.
And I think it helps. Like I do the same thing and I think it helps with like your brain because, we're monkeys and we like achievements.
I'm not.
You're not a monkey?
I'm not a monkey. I'm a man.
You just storm off. Creationist Danny Polishchuk has walked off the podcast.
I'm not a monkey, okay?
My grandfather ain't no monkey. My uncle ain't no monkey.
Yeah, I'll show you my family tree. 0 monkeys in my family tree.
This could go in a very other direction, by the way, but we're not going to do it.
No.
We're not.
No, we're not.
We are going to look at the camera, though.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Creationist Museum in Kentucky. I think that
What
would
is it?
be. I'm like a little scared of like doing any of that stuff though, because I feel like I'm a little too dumb.
Dr. Mike, I was hoping he would say these are good for you because this was one of our questions because nicotine's become so popular and I'm only recently started doing it.
But
I really like them.
all right, for those listening, Danny's doing nicotine right now.
Mhm.
Are you doing nicotine?
Yeah.
This is nicotine gum.
No, it's a pouch. It's
Okay.
a nicotine pouch that has, it's just nicotine salts. There's no, honestly, I've done a lot of research on it. I can't find, other than potential gum recession
Mm-hmm.
that you can get from it.
Mm-hmm.
There's really like even, you know, Peter Attia, you know him? He's like this doctor. He's like in that space or whatever. Dr. Mike.
Oh
and stuff.
yeah, he's been on Chris Williamson's podcast.
Yeah. Chris Williams is a friend of mine actually.
Ooh.
And but anyways, he did something on nicotine where he's like, it's good for you. He's like, I take it, and then he's like, I take it. It's the only drug where because it has such a fast half-life. So he's like, it's the only thing where if you take a little of it, like this amount, it focuses you. But if you take like double this amount, it does like the opposite. It like kind of makes you like relaxed and kind of like sleepy. And he's like, it's the only drug that does that, where essentially like it has these two phases of it. So
I've never heard that nicotine could be good for you.
I mean, I wasn't like, I used to smoke like 20 years ago and then
Mhm.
I quit and I was like, yeah, I'm done with nicotine. And then everybody was doing these fucking things.
Uh-huh.
And then the first time I ever tried it was with Lev Fur. And these are 3 milligrams. He gave me a 6 milligram one because I was like, man, well, I got to try this because everybody's doing it. And then I almost puked. I had the spins.
It was like you were a teenager that smoked your first cigarette.
Literally, it literally was that, except like it's even more powerful than that because I can't imagine there's that much nicotine in it. I wonder how much nicotine is in a single cigarette. But anyways, you want to try one?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I have an addictive personality and I
Yep.
will eat a fistful of those a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do now.
I never smoked cigarettes, thank goodness.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Cigarettes are stupid.
yeah, I have like an addictive personality and I also have an oral fixation. Pause. But like if I'm appropriating pause now, I think it's very fun.
Yeah. Pause is great.
I love saying pause
It's like no homo, but
for black people.
no homo was also for black people.
Really? Oh, because I grew up saying no homo,
Oh.
and there were no black people near where I grew up.
Oh,
I'm not.
they,
I'm
but
not
like
bragging.
most things that are trendy, I think they started it.
It's black people and or gay people.
Yeah.
Then young
Well, I don't think
people.
gay people were saying no homo.
Yeah, or they were to themselves in the mirror.
Maybe. Before they were about to go do something just deliciously decadent.
What if that's? It is basically the 5-second rule for sexuality, right?
What's that? No homo?
No homo. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
You could, dude. I was at a show and I was Comedy Fight Club, which we both have judged for before, and
Sure.
I was I wanted to make fun of someone's jaw because he had a very almost like the Chad meme.
Yeah.
He almost had like the Chad jaw and nothing else Chad related, right? So I
Right,
wanted to
yeah.
make a joke about that. And so I started with saying, you have a really masculine jaw. And then there was like a group of black guys in the room and they all just started yelling pause
Yeah.
to the point where I could not finish my joke. I was like, sorry, can't finish the joke. I said something gay in front of black people.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Yeah. So you grew up in Canada.
Yeah, I'm from Canada.
Where in Canada?
Burlington, Ontario, just outside of Toronto.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you ever been?
I've only been to Montreal,
Yeah, it's nice there.
which is, it's a little topsy-turvy because you're in North America, but they're speaking differently.
Everybody's speaking French. Yeah, it's like a little taste of Europe,
Mhm.
kind of.
But they're different. They're different than French people and
French
France.
people look down heavily on Quebecers.
I guess much like Englishmen look down on us.
I don't know if they do. No, I think English people are actually like they want to look down on us, but they're
Mhm.
like, no, that's better.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're actually jealous. They're looking down the French in France,
Mhm.
like because the Quebec like accent
Mhm.
and the way they speak is like very trashy compared to like France French kind of. So they like, and just the dialect, they definitely think they're better.
It's like when Latin Americans, they don't use vosotros. And then Spaniards are like,
What's
these animals not using vosotros. It's like the formal way of saying something plural.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Instead of nosotros, it's vosotros.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe it's the same thing. What I noted, because I've been to France and I've been to Montreal. In Montreal, if you start every interaction with a stranger going, pardon, parlez-vous
They just start speaking
anglais?
English.
Yeah, but they also love it. They're like, dude, you're such a cool guy right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You didn't even have to do that.
Right.
But I'm like,
When I was in France with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and she is also from Canada, and they have like a thing called French immersion, where essentially like you can do high school, but it's only in French.
Okay.
Right. So you just like learn French essentially because it's like your whole high school is all your classes are in French. And then we were somewhere, not in France actually. We were in like Italy. And then we were like at some museum, and there was like a couple behind us in line, and they were from France. And she's like, "Oh, you're from France." She started speaking French to them, and then they just started speaking English.
Ah, so
And
frustrating.
she like spoke fluent French, and they're just like, we'll just talk to you in English.
That is, it does rule about being a native English speaker. So you could go literally anywhere, and there will be someone that'll be like, "I got you, bro."
Well, they have to because they need our money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's actually not because in Quebec, like if you go outside of Montreal, most people don't know English.
Really?
Which is crazy because it's Canada. Which is the first language of Canada is English. And if you leave,
the first language is Algonquin.
Algonquin,
Danny?
I don't know if that's the language, but if you leave Montreal, like if you go to like Quebec City, like you're gonna have a tough time getting by with no French.
Really?
Yeah.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah. Sacre bleu. Tabarnak. That's what they say. They go tabarnak. That's like fuck in Quebecois.
Even their curses sound like whimsical.
Yeah. Well, it's like a church thing, like tabernacle. Like they go tabarnak.
Oh,
And
tabernacle. Okay.
And it means like basically fuck. But it's just for Quebec people.
My grandmother used to say Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, which is like very funny to me because that was like her idea of swearing. But that doesn't, I don't feel any type of way when I hear those three names in a row.
No.
What is the language politics in Canada like? I know that there's like stuff going on. Is that a weird
Language
question?
politics? What do you mean?
Yeah, wasn't there a thing like
with Jordan Peterson? Like that shit?
No, I mean like English and French.
Well, there's just English and French. Well, I mean, you have to like like French is like Spanish is here. Like you have to take it in school. It's mandatory up until 9th grade. Although we actually say grade 9, but I stopped saying that because I don't know.
You got a code switch around me.
I do code switch. I code switch in America. I had to switch to. There's all these things where I remember right when I moved here. And then I went somewhere and was like, I can't remember where. It was maybe because I drove here when I moved here. And I was like upstate New York. And I was like, where's the washroom? And the chick was like, what? I go, oh, the bathroom. Like I never in my life said until I moved here said restroom.
Right.
Like ever. Like I don't think I ever used the phrase "where's the restroom" once in my life until I moved here.
Yeah, we were talking about like if you speak English, you could go anywhere, but really if you speak American English, that's like kind of the standard too. It's weird because know,
but it's no, because if you go to like because like obviously Canada's like a colony I guess of England, like many places are. So they're all the same. Like, Canada, I mean, America's the only place that has miles, like in terms of like, if you say washroom in England, they know exactly what you're talking about. And like the spelling and stuff and kilometers and all that shit. So,
because we had
a lot of U's.
You guys love throwing U's into places.
U's and words.
Yeah. And you got the Queen on your money?
Oh, yeah. Although I think it's now the King. Because she died. So like obviously the money before she died has her on it. But I think since she died, I think now the rule is like, I think the new money has the king on it. Like
Are you doing okay with the Queen dying and stuff?
I had no affinity to the Queen. Some people are like older people are like really like love the Queen.
In Canada?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Well, it's like she's on all the money.
That's true.
It's like they have a really like rich history of the royal family and stuff. I don't give a shit. But
so what, Danny, what brought you to America?
This?
Doing stand-up.
Yeah.
Is that this
podcast?
Oh, this. You're like, there's a redhead that has a podcast with a few hundred listeners. I have to do it.
No, just comedy.
Yeah.
This is kind of where you got to go.
It's okay because it is the place to do it. I mean, you could be the biggest guy in Canada, but then eventually you got.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't tell me who the biggest comedian in Canada is.
No, Rob Ford.
He's dead.
R.I.P. to a real one, dude.
Yeah, he was. I love Rob Ford though. I made a movie about him.
You made a movie about Rob Ford?
Yeah. It's called you can watch it. It's on Tubi. It's called Filth City. And it's literally like right when the Rob Ford stuff happened. It was like this crazy story, but we basically made this, like me and some friends made a short film. Okay. About these like cops who like smoke crack or something. Okay. Like these just like stupid cops kind of thing. It was like a 3-minute short film that we just made. And the guy who I made it with, this guy, Andy King, his brother like has a small production company in Canada. and he's like a director and he worked in TV and stuff. And then just like randomly one day, he's like, "Hey, we sold the." He's like, "We sold the idea to like this, essentially like this equivalent of Stars here or something."
Okay.
They're like, "We're making a movie." And we basically made a movie about this mayor of like a fictional Toronto. His name's Tom Hogg.
Okay.
Who smoked crack, and it's like played by this guy who like looks like Rob Ford, and like it was the whole thing like Rob, because when we made it, it was after the crack scandal with Rob Ford. If people don't know, Rob Ford was former mayor of Toronto. He like got busted, not arrested, but he like there was a video of him smoking crack, and he was like a wild guy. So anyway, we made the movie. I think he was no longer the mayor because he got like pushed out or whatever. But we made the movie, and he got cancer. But then when we were making the movie, he was in remission, and then we were in post production. He just got cancer again and died. And then when we put out the movie, like it was like it premiered at like this film festival, and his brother, who is at the time was just a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
But is currently the premier of Ontario, which is essentially he's like the governor of Ontario. He's like one of the most powerful politicians in Canada. And he was, I guess, trying to like, get some airtime because he had a weekly radio show on some like local Toronto radio station. But anyways, it became this like huge thing where he was so pissed off that we would like put out this movie. Like it was like a year to the day of his death it came out, but it was totally coincidental that just like that's when the film festival was. Like we had, we had no control over that. And then he like went on TV and he said he was going to run us over in his car and shit. Like it's crazy. And this guy's like a very powerful politician in Canada right now.
The apple does not fall far from the tree.
No. Yeah. So, but anyways, I love Rob Ford.
Yeah, dude, he rules. That is definitely a temperament issue in that family because his brother, I guess, doesn't smoke crack, but he says stuff like, "I'm going to run my enemies."
Well, he didn't say I'm going to run them over. He said he was on this channel called CB24, and he's like, "If I ever see these guys walking in the street, I'm not slowing down my car."
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I love when people become politicians and they really weren't supposed to.
No, well, they're just like their dad owned some crazy business, but they were always like their dad was like a politician too, like in municipal or something, and they were just like a connected political family. And
I think my favorite Rob Ford quote is because he was accused of sexually harassing a female employee.
Yeah,
he said, "That's not true. I would never do that. I never said I would eat your pussy.
Yeah,
I have plenty. I'm a married man. I have plenty pussy to eat at home."
Yeah, I got plenty to eat at home. Oh yeah.
Imagine being his PR guy, just like watching.
Dude, but that was the thing. He was like uncontrollable though. Like they couldn't. There's nothing they could do. And like this is when the height of like there's this crack video, and he was denying it the whole time. Right? He was like this. He's like, "I've never smoked crack." Oh, this is what he kept saying. He goes, "I don't smoke crack." Right? And then when it came out, he was like, "I don't smoke crack." And they're like, "Didn't you say you don't smoke crack?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "Ask me differently." And they're like, "Have you ever smoked crack?" And he's like, "Yes, once in a drunken stupor." That's what he said. He goes, "Yes, once in a drunken stupor." But it wasn't true. He was definitely, dude, there were so many stories of him. Like there was like this restaurant, I can't remember what it was called, but it was on King Street. And like some waitress was like, this is when he was the mayor. They're like, he had like a back room. And then she's like, I walked in and it was like 9 p.m. or something. He was just like doing rails off the fucking table. And he was a madman.
I think that, yeah, there's a certain, well, I guess he was always rich, right?
So, yeah, because he had lots of money from his family. Wow. But he was like, he was a very like populist mayor, like man of the people kind of thing. And he lived pretty modestly. Like he had like a pretty regular house, even though his like family had tons of money. And he was such a populist where even though he was the mayor of Toronto, which is like bigger city than Chicago, like this is a huge city, right? He gave his personal phone number out and you could just call him if you had a problem. Like you could just call the mayor of Toronto at like any hour, basically. Like you'd probably pick up at fucking 2 a.m. because he was fucking drinking and on drugs and stuff.
Okay, I'm getting it now. Yeah.
So.
And then even his drug of choice makes him a man of the people too. He's smoking crack.
I think alcohol was probably his drug of choice, but he did not take care of himself.
Yeah.
No, he was so fat.
And it does suck that it seemed like he got sober and then he got cancer. Although maybe the way he lived his life made him.
Yeah. Like I heard, so I remember one time right during that stuff, I was at an open mic in Toronto. Someone was like at a bar and they're like, I used to work for they had a printing and label company. That's like where they made all their money. And he's like, I used to work for their company. And he was like my boss. at the time. And he would, for lunch, like there'd be like, 20 people, and he would order like 5 like extra large, or like, 8 extra large like pepperoni pizzas, and like he would take 2 of them for himself and give the other 6 to like the other 19 people.
Oh, gee. He just had, was he a sex guy?
No, that was the one thing. He was not a sex guy, but he was definitely like any drug.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me when like, cause he's smoking crack. He's eating like 5,000 calories a day.
10,000. Dude, he was huge.
Big guy, big boy. Chris Christie big?
Bigger.
Whoa.
He was bigger than Chris Christie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he's bigger than Chris
Well, if
Christie.
any big boys or big girls are listening to the podcast, you could become mayor of Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he the craziest Canadian politician?
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you count Justin Trudeau, but
Yeah. The
but,
guy that can't stop doing blackface.
he loves it.
I love that, dude.
Yeah, he just loves it. He loves Halloween mostly.
Now, I feel like he's, I know nothing about Canadian politics. I know he's like your version of a Democrat.
Yeah. He's like a super Democrat.
Very, like, could you compare his politics to American politics?
Maybe like, probably like close to Bernie Sanders.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
so
something like
Canada
that.
really is like that left of the United States.
And there's someone even left of him. Like our Republican is essentially like a centrist here, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there's this new guy, his name's Pierre Polyev or something, but he's probably closer to like a DeSantis type, and he's probably going to win the next election.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because I was just going to ask you, like, I feel like Trudeau has been the prime minister.
Yeah, for like 10 years.
That's crazy. They don't have term limits?
No, and they hate him.
Yeah.
His like approval rating, I bet you, is in like the teens right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't be kicked out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to, whenever I learn like more about Canadian politics, I get an appreciation for like how
It's nothing you need to know about.
Yeah.
It's not pertinent to anything.
My the first prime minister that pops into my head when I think Canada is Stephen Harper.
Oh yeah.
Because I was a teenager and started paying attention when he was
the
guy in
he was
charge.
the guy before Trudeau.
Oh my God. Only 2 since I've been paying attention.
I
That's
mean,
crazy.
he was the prime minister for like 8 years. So there's been 2 in the last literally 16 years or something, I think.
Yeah. That's been that's kind of how my brain works. Like Tony Blair is the first British prime minister.
Yeah.
Like in my brain, it's like Winston Churchill, who's girl Reagan, Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
And then, Tony Blair, and then the guy that fucked a pig, and whose name I don't remember. I don't remember the guy that fucked
Boris
a pig.
Johnson?
No, it was like a regular guy, but there was like
Fucked a pig?
Well, the accusation
Sure they
is
weren't
that
just calling him a pig fucker?
that would be hilarious. I just took it totally
Yeah,
wrong.
you pig fucker. You go,
They
"That guy
call him a
fucked
motherfucker. I'm like, he really had sex with his mom.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
potentially.
No, I think it was it Gordon Brown? Brown Gordon?
Maybe.
If any
Sounds
people
like
from
a
the UK
very
are listening,
British
they're
name.
screaming at their phones right now. But the idea is that allegedly, when he was part of like a fraternity,
Yeah,
put his
yeah.
balls in a dead pig's mouth.
Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
which
not-
I wouldn't do.
That's not fucking
Unless
a
I
pig.
got spots out of it, then I would 100%
Yeah.
do.
That's
Yeah.
not fucking a pig though.
Yeah.
That's-
It's not necessary. It might be legally fucking a pig. I don't know.
yeah, it's desecrating a pig's body.
So how long have you been in the United States?
Almost 5 years now.
Hell yeah. Did you have any culture shock besides not saying the washroom when you got here?
Not really, because like I grew up like 45 minutes from Buffalo,
Mhm.
so all my TV was like all the television you watch in Canada for the most part is pretty American,
Mm-hmm.
so it's pretty minimal. And I spent time in America, so
Now, is it anything when you were living in Canada? Is it anything like Trailer Park Boys?
not where I'm from. No, Trailer Park Boys is like I've never actually even been out east like that, but no, that's like New Brunswick and like Nova Scotia and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, not like Trailer Park Boys. I mean, there are places like that, I'm sure,
Mhm.
but not where I went. Like, yeah, like not suburb of Toronto.
Okay, suburb of Toronto. We probably have a similar thing going on because I'm from what some people might call a suburb of New York because I'm like 50 miles north of here.
Westchester,
No, it's a little. So you got Westchester, you got Rockland, and you got Orange, and I'm in Orange.
Orange. Okay, yeah,
Orange
I've been
County,
there.
New York.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like similar.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what was it? Were you always into comedy? What was it? What were you like in high school?
Was I like in high school? I was really into comedy. I was always into comedy. Yeah, I always loved comedy.
Yeah. Okay. So did you start doing it young?
Not super young. I started when I was like 25.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I had this weird thing where like I was always obsessed with stand up.
Yeah.
And then like everybody in my life, not everybody, a lot of people in my life system were like, you're very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I love stand up. Other people tell me I'm funny. What the hell am I going to do with my life?
Right.
And it took me until I was 25 to be like, oh, maybe I could.
Oh, see, I always wanted to do stand up, and then it just like where I went to college. It's crazy because how much comedy's changed. Like where I went to college, it's the city. It's called Guelph, Ontario. It's like probably an hour west of where I grew up, but hour and a half west of Toronto. But there was like no comedy open mics. There was no comedy shows. Like it was the only comedy show that ever came was my college. That's another thing too, is for whatever reason in America, you guys call everything college, even if it's a university.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to a university, you go, I went to college.
I don't know if I understand the distinction between college and university.
Well, so in Canada, if you say you went to college, you went to community college.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Or like not a 4-year degree.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas university is like a 4-year degree. But here you could go to Harvard and you go, I went to college.
Yeah.
Everything's just college.
Well, I think for us,
I guess you say community college specifically.
Yeah. So you went to college. What did you get a degree in?
Economics.
Oh, hell yeah.
Me and
dude.
Ryan Long actually went to the same school, had classes together, but never knew each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you guys end up linking up?
We met at just like an open mic
Mhm.
in Toronto. And like when we met, I was like, hey, I literally had a class with you. And he was like, oh, crazy. But because he was like, had this crazy like hair and shit. And he was like, so he stood out a lot. But we had never met. Yeah, we just oddly.
Yeah, he's like a punk rock guy.
Just ska.
Yeah, he was in a ska band.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny because like the type of like humor that you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think anything of you like on site. I don't look at you and go, here's how he feels about things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Ryan, I'd be like, oh, that guy's like a super leftist.
Yeah.
Just with the tattoos and the.
He's not.
He's not at all.
Ryan's not a leftist. That's funny though.
Yeah, but maybe that's how you're punk rock.
I mean,
in Canada.
we were considered, like most people. You're like, yeah, I was a pretty liberal guy 10 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now I'm probably not. By the people who consider themselves pretty liberal, they'd be like, I'm alt-right.
You know, it's like fascinating to me. I walk into some rooms in Bushwick and I could literally feel like people are like, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gay everywhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this guy with his, he doesn't even say he, him when he introduces himself.
Sure. Yeah. The shit's changed.
I did a show in Brooklyn one time and, I'm doing a bit on stage, prolific. Everyone's in stitches.
Of course.
And I forget why. I don't think it's a bit I've ever done since, but for whatever reason, I said this sentence. I came inside her, and there was like a very typical Brooklyn kind of looking white girl, and she goes, "Okay," and I'm like, "It's not a problem. I had permission."
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if I was doing any shows like that, I would be like, I want to bomb so hard, just for the reaction, just to like I honestly, I'm like, even though it'd be a waste of my time to do this, I'm like to basically just make everyone pissed off.
The type of room where if you do well, you're like, I don't feel right about doing well.
Yeah, and also I'm just like, I'd rather just make people mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very agreeable by nature. I think like I don't like when people are mad at me, but I've sort of gotten over that by nature of living.
You're
in
not
this...
agreeable.
No. I guess you're right. Can we clip that, Maxim? That was very good. We're gonna clip that.
There you go.
Yeah, but I think you sort of have to get over that if you're going to be in front of people.
Yeah,
the most like middle of the road, not offensive person will make an audience member mad at them at some point. So fuck it.
Yeah, for sure. Who cares?
The first bit I saw you do.
I mean, obviously don't bomb, but like,
yeah. Oh, you could go too far in the other direction.
Well, you just
can't
can't be like bombing all the time. And you're like, that's also not what you want to do. But
the first time I saw you was at I saw you at the stand and you were talking about the WNBA.
Oh yeah,
I was like, hell yeah, this guy rules.
I was a trailblazer and making fun of the WNBA.
Yeah,
now it's just become kind of mainstream.
Dude, I want Caitlin Clark to put me in a headlock and tell me what a naughty little boy I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does it for you?
Yes. I don't have a thing.
See, that's the problem is you don't have a black player that does that for you.
Oh. Well, I don't discriminate. I regulate every shade of the ass, as Big Pun once said.
Okay.
But
Yeah. That's why everybody's mad about with the WNBA is like nobody cared until a white girl came up.
Isn't she the best?
What?
Isn't she the best?
Fuck no, she's not even in the top 20.
Oh, I have no idea.
She was the best college basketball player.
Okay.
There's like some sort of concerted effort, obviously, to push the WNBA right now. Like it's this planned thing because obviously nobody cares about it actually otherwise. But no, like there's this chick, Aja Wilson or whatever, who's like the LeBron James of the WNBA. But because the WNBA is such a bad product, where like again, she was the best collegiate basketball player ever, and she is a rookie. So you're like here's the thing. I know so much about the WNBA, I don't even like it, but it's unavoidable. But she's like Caitlin Clark is currently, she's a rookie, so you probably don't expect her to be the best player immediately. And maybe she will be in 5 years or something, but definitely not the best player.
I was at a bar and they had there was 2 TV screens and they both had the same WNBA game playing. It was Caitlin Clark, and me and a couple of guys were watching it because it was on.
Yeah.
And there was this bartender who's a woman, and she walks by and she goes, "I love seeing this." And she points to us and she's like, "You guys,
that's what it's about."
Are watching, but we're like, "Yeah, it's on." Like you turn it on.
Hey, I have an idea. The Western Conference NBA Finals are on right now. You could put that on too.
Yeah. I didn't have the heart to tell her though. I was like, oh yeah, for
we're
sure.
just seeing what's going on here. Yeah. So I don't know. And again, if you actually like the NBA, good for you. I think the only people who really like the NBA are either like, and I wouldn't say but gamblers, like people who are like crazy into basketball, like people who probably like watch like, Euro League as well. And just people who want to support women. That's it.
Were you a sports guy growing up?
Yes.
Ooh. What kind of sport?
Like I used to play baseball and basketball.
They have baseball in Canada.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Some great Canadian baseball players.
And so
Fergie Jenkins.
What's his name?
Fergie Jenkins.
That's somebody.
He was like in the 70s. He was like one of the best pitchers. Or Joey Votto, who National League MVP for let me see, maybe 10 years ago or something.
So what position did you play?
I pitched.
Ooh, so you were good. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't that great, but I was okay.
And when did you in high school were you playing?
I played 1 year in high school, but other than that, that was it. Yeah, I wasn't like great or anything else.
I did Little League, so I stopped playing in high school. But I was so bad. I felt bad for my parents because they were like, he has to be good at something. So
Yeah.
they just threw me
Comedy.
Yeah, but you couldn't do stand up when you were 14.
Yeah, you can.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, just people weren't like them. I mean, some were. I think like Dave Chappelle was doing comedy when he was 14.
Yeah.
But it would have been, I mean, you got to have some fucking serious balls to be doing comedy when you're 14 years old.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so jealous of like, there's a kid.
I sometimes think about it and I'm like, I don't even, if I had to redo it again, I'm like, would I want to do comedy when I was 14? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think there's like plus and negatives to like both of them, right?
Yeah.
You know what makes me cringe is like someone.
I mean, there's a kid at Brooklyn Comedy Club, this kid Tomas, who's like 18.
That's who I was about to bring him up. Yeah. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah. He's not bad.
I shouldn't have said actually. I feel bad that I said
Yeah. No, he's a good comic, and again, he's 18 years old.
Yeah.
There's actually this kid in Canada, Kyle Lucy, who like has been doing comedy since I've been doing comedy, and he's probably like 28 now. Like he's probably been doing it since he was 14.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I didn't start figuring myself out till I was 25. So it's good that I didn't have a microphone in front of me.
Yeah,
in those
for
formative years.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because I was like a drunk lunatic before 25. So I don't know what I would have been.
Probably racial slurs.
Yeah, probably. Oh, fucking what's his name? Kramer's making a comeback, baby.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. It's sad. He can't it almost seems like the racism thing has superseded the Kramer thing.
Yeah, I think
he's
so.
more like we were talking about it literally yesterday, but I was like, why can't he just like, why?
Yeah.
What does he need to make a comeback for?
Yeah.
You don't have enough money? Like,
Yeah.
just fucking, it's so difficult for some guys who had like some crazy level of fame to just like step away. And, you know, like, remember like Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
He just like retired. He goes, fuck this. I'm done. I don't need to do this till I die.
Yeah. There must be a deep hole inside of him where he can't just.
Well,
like,
dude, think about the Kramer. Think how famous Kramer was in the 90s. He was like Michael Jordan. Like, in terms of like, couldn't walk down the street anywhere. And then now he's probably like, just wants some of that back.
I never really, this is going to sound like a hot take, but I don't get it. Kramer, I don't get it.
What do you mean you don't get it?
Like the character, he's like, didn't he walk into the room in a zany way?
Yeah, he's just like the wacky neighbor.
Yeah, I don't see it.
The 90s were different. You might be a little too young for it.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. And then he wasn't really like he was like an improv guy before that, right?
He did some stand up. He was like an improv guy. He was in UHF. I don't know if you ever saw that movie with Weird Al. Good movie.
So I feel like not that like I would have done exactly what he did at the Laugh Factory on that fateful night.
Sure.
But I feel like he went
You
up.
identified with him.
I'm like,
You
he's saying what
identified with
we're all
someone.
thinking.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Well, that was like, didn't Chappelle have that joke? Like, after Chappelle left for 10 years and came back, and then he was doing the joke about a thing happened like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Because he just had this, but he's like, man, he's having a tough night.
Yeah. I'm 20% black and 80% comedian.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I like that a lot. And there's a moment where I think like during that thing, he realized he's like, oh, I really fucked up. He goes, ooh, words.
Yeah,
like he's
right,
trying to
right.
turn into a Carlin
And
thing.
someone's literally fucking filming him on like a Motorola Razor with like the first camera.
That's the
That's
thing.
the thing. He probably thought nobody was filming.
If he did it like a year earlier, people were like, I heard this weird thing about Kramer. but I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if
would
it's
just be
real."
like a rumor,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have been. It would have been fine, but because one person whipped out their phone with this like grainy phone footage.
Yeah. Have you?
I don't even know how you would have got that video off of your phone. I guess you probably like some cable or something.
I think.
Like, I remember I used to have videos on my like those phones. And I go, I don't know where the fuck they are. I never even thought. I'm like, how do you keep this? I guess you got to put it on a hard drive or something.
I think whoever had it was very motivated to put it out there.
Well, yeah, at the time for sure. Yeah.
It's one of those things. If it wasn't on camera, I'd be like, no way, Kramer. Come on, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'd be like, one, he does stand up too. No way.
Yeah.
Not my Kramer.
The video of his apology with Seinfeld helping him is like the fucking funniest thing in the world. First of all, Kramer keeps saying Afro-American. And I'm like, I feel like he's not old enough to say such a...
No, he is that old. I think that's like pre-African American.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like after Negro, but before African.
Can we clip that, Maxim?
Yeah.
Can we clip Danny saying that?
You could say Negro.
I said, I forgot who I was talking to, but it was
Negro
in
Baseball
context. Yes, I said
And
that,
they're now, I don't know if you saw, but they incorporated the Negro League stats with the Major League stats.
Okay.
Because of George Floyd. So now...
Baseball player most often asked to go to the back of the bus.
Well, but so now... Like they changed all the stats. So then this is like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So now like the best hitter of all time is a new guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Josh Gibson is now the greatest, like highest career batting average. Like
shout out Josh
which is like
Gibson.
a record that is was Ty Cobb. So it's like literally 100-year-old record. And they go, yeah, he's not the best hitter anymore.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, and baseball people are like such math stat guys, and so like a lot of them they're all like purists, you know, so they're all not happy.
Dude, I was so bad at Little League that I played right field. That gives you an idea of how much they didn't want the ball hit to me.
Yep.
But sometimes I would switch with the left fielder if there was a left-handed batter.
Oh, so they very much did not want you to touch the
And
ball.
I was such a dumb little kid that I'm like, there's some strategic reason for this, but I don't understand why. And then I was a literal adult and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you're just more likely to pull the ball.
Isn't that crazy that an adult person decided to do that though? Like the coach, it's like, the team can lose. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Don't fuck with like.
At this point, it's really about the individual. Like, you just let the guys who are good play.
We hated the coach's son was a pitcher and he was awful. He was so bad, and that was
there anybody good though?
Yeah, there was. That's why we hated the coach's son, because that pitcher was so bad, and we had another guy that was a really good pitcher.
Oh, It's annoying.
I remember one time.
Nepo baby.
Yeah, exactly. And oh man, it would be so nice to have friends in high places, right?
I know some. It doesn't do anything. I know some. I'm here.
Yeah.
They can't help me.
Actually, I know some friends in high places too, and left unread a lot.
Yeah.
Or a heart emoji.
Sure.
Dude, people I
Something.
start with and then they get something and then I'm like, hey man, congrats. And just a heart emoji. Not even a thank you after the heart emoji. But I
got
choose
so
not
many
to be
messages to reply to.
I know. That's the thing is like I'll turn off my phone while doing the podcast and I turn it back on and I'm like, oh, here we go. And I'm like, nothing. And I'm like, oh, good. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Now I got more time and cognitive bandwidth to write.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. That's fine. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah. I like when good comedians that I started with get stuff. When they're objectively terrible and they get stuff, I can't stand it.
Well, it's good to know that the world's not fair.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good to disabuse yourself of the notion that the world's fair. So
yeah,
when someone bad gets something, you go, huh.
And then I keep working hard because I'm like, I guess it's still better than not working hard. You know?
I mean, this is the game. Like you're like at this point, like very few people are like it used to be where your whole career was being given stuff, and then if you're the guy who keeps being given stuff, but like most of the people I know weren't given anything who were just successful. They just did something.
Yeah, I think you got to be the first person to do something is big.
I mean, yes and no, dude. There's like, as we speak, there is some open micer who is firing up an Instagram account, making it for the first time. And they're going to, in a year from now, they're going to have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And they're starting today. So everybody's like, it's too late. It's like, it's not too late. It's like, you can start today.
But then they might have a Kramer moment and then it's all over.
I mean, that might be the thing that makes them popular. Did you see that girl on Twitter?
No, okay. You're the perfect person. I don't know anything about this. You're the perfect person to ask.
You don't know anything. You're on Twitter though, right?
Not really.
Really?
I don't know.
You're such a joke writer. Why don't you just fucking literally spamming Twitter all day with jokes?
I write about one a week and then my mom and 2 other people like it. So I seem to be doing better on Instagram and YouTube, but X I can't figure out for some reason.
Yeah, you just gotta keep at it.
Yeah. And I do appreciate, Mom, that you like my tweets.
Yeah. But anyways, this girl, she's like, I guess they're saying, I don't know what her deal is. She's like some Christian conservative chick. And then she just posted some video where she just dropped the N-bomb when she was like cooking or something. Very casually just drops an N-bomb. And then it like blew up, like all these black people getting mad at her and reacting to her. And then she's like, now this like, so the conservatives are such lame people because they're like, now she's like this conservative darling for like just dropping an N-bomb. And she got fired from her job and like, but she's like, well, now she's going to be on like the Daily Wire or something, like some shit like that. Like literally, and like she got like in, I don't know how long, but like she got like fucking 100,000 followers in like 2 days on Twitter, and everybody's like loves her. And you're like, why? Because she said the N-word. Like, you know how many guys I know who say that shit? And you're like,
oh, and
lose
then
everything, but she's like kind of attractive. And then all these people are like, and then all the super right wing are like, the proper racists are like, no, she's like a Jewish plant. She's like actually because she has like a cross, and she's like, no, she's actually Jewish. And this is just like some psyop and all this. People are fucking retarded.
I love that, dude. I love that. Someone who's like is probably not the most intelligent person in the world.
No.
And she's just existing on the internet, and then it becomes this giant political thing.
Well, she just was like, I'm going to say something controversial kind of thing. And
do you remember the context? And say the full thing just so everybody understands.
Not a hard R, so I can say it. I can probably.
Danny's Jewish, so
yeah, I'm Jewish, so I'm allowed to say the N-word.
Yeah. Well, as a member of a community that runs the hip hop labels, I think you could say it.
You want me to play the video?
Sure.
Let me see if I can find it. It's like literally. Okay, here we go. This is her.
Beef with the male community. I give my criticisms to all because we are all about equity and inclusion here, right? So I'm sick and tired of all girls getting blamed, or like guys, certain guys, thinking that all girls are gold diggers. I don't know if it's because you get your information from those street interviews in like Miami at 3 a.m. outside of a nightclub. You're getting the opinion of some dumb whores and immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green card. Yes, they are probably gold diggers, but that's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass niggas.
Okay. All right. She wasn't quoting a rap lyric.
No. She's just like cooking. But then all these people are like, look at her nose. She's got to be Jewish. She's not Christian. Like literally, that's the discourse online right now. I'm not even joking. Like I'm not making this up. Like the discourse is like, look at that nose. She's obviously Jewish, and she's a psyop and a plant. And
I think,
but how she so casually said it, then like everybody fucking lost their mind.
I think if I was listening to that in the background while I was doing something, it wouldn't even register.
Yeah,
it wasn't like.
Well, she's like this, like kind of like cute, unassuming white woman, and then she just drops it, and people are like, what?
Now, do you think she was like, well, I gotta? Do you think this was not is she a Jewish plant? But do you think
she is a Jewish plant?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Well, you're a Jewish plant as well.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of Jews in the suburbs of Toronto?
Yeah. Suburbs though, but Toronto has a lot of Jews.
Okay.
Nothing like New York though.
Mm-hmm.
New York is like, I think, the biggest Jewish population in the world outside of Israel.
Outside of Israel?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Free Palestine.
Yeah. The graffiti around Bushwick where I live is getting weirder and weirder.
How so?
Well, I saw one that said, because originally it was just like Free Palestine.
Yeah.
And remember our martyrs, which is I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then
it's just like I love Hamas.
Yeah, exactly. Because I could I think if you say Free Palestine, you're confused, but like I'm like, all right, maybe you mean Free Palestine from Hamas, or like let's keep collateral damage to a minimum. I don't know.
They just want Palestine to be its own independent state.
Yeah. But I saw it was Workers Unite for Palestine.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, first of all, who is this for?
Well, commies love, they're communists, and they love Palestine because they just love the underdogs.
Yeah, it's so because I imagine the person that put up the Workers Unite for Palestine sign in Bushwick is neither working class nor Palestinian.
They might be working class, but they're definitely communists. That's like there is a lot of communists, like people who are like, I'm literally a communist, and that's probably what I would guess. They might be working class. Like there obviously are the ones where like, yeah, they come from wealthy, affluent families, but there probably are a lot of them that are like legitimately, and they just hate working and they just want a universal basic income, which sounds pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know where the money comes from. They never know that. They never have any actual ideas.
Danny, it's from the rich. We're going to tax the rich.
Sure.
You have an economics degree. You should know this. We're going to.
Well, that's the thing. The reason why I don't know this is because I have an economics degree, because then they'll be like, this is what we should do. And you're like, how does that work? Like all the libertarian, like I don't know if you know much about the libertarians, but they're retarded. And they're like, you need to end the Federal Reserve. And you're like, how does that work? And they're like, we don't know, but we want to do it.
I'm young and antsy. That's the thing is anyone over a certain age, I'm like, how are you still doing this?
Yeah.
Because I really can see myself if you caught me at the right time.
Yeah, communism is definitely a young person's game. Because you're like, everything's unfair and you're more of an activist. And then eventually you just go, oh, this is how the world works. And I can't just do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember I never got into communism, but I remember when I graduated from college with my bachelor's degree, and everybody was like, "We don't care."
Yeah,
and that was really, just working at a pizza place with my college degree.
Yeah,
that was real frustrating.
Yeah,
I feel like if you
may I ask how much college costs?
I spent $40,000.
Yep,
and I have given $10,000 back, so I'm only $30,000 in debt. Which means I basically have no debt in the American sense.
Did you get student loan relief?
No student loan relief. I'm in that weird in between.
Why not? You didn't know enough?
No, I guess not. Yeah, because I know some people have like 6-figure debt.
Yeah, some people have like. Well, I mean, generally they're like doctors and shit. But yeah, some people, which is like crazy that you would absolve a doctor's debt.
Yeah,
they're fine.
Yeah, I had this thing. I kept paying the principal even when I.
Do you have to pay interest on it?
Yeah, you do have, but I pay the principal and some of the interest.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't stress about it. Like I haven't had to pay since lockdown started.
Right.
Since lockdown started, they were like, you don't have to give us any money, but I've just kept giving $154 every month because I was like, I'm already doing that. And I'm not making less money than I make now.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I do that?
Sure.
And but honestly, like I don't stress about it at all. I mean, I don't stress about.
So the whole thing cost you $40,000. That's not. Did you go to a state school?
I went to a state school. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm from New York State, so I went. And I mean, like I don't have a day job anymore, but when I did, I wouldn't have had that lucrative sales job if not for the college degree that I got.
Yeah.
So it wasn't pointless, although.
Yeah, it's not point. I mean, it still shapes your general outlook and stuff. And the thing is, some people are really like, they'll go to not a state school and you're like, yeah, I owe $200,000 and I have a sociology degree. And you're like, that's
Yeah,
fucking
and I just really wanted to see what Miami was like.
Yeah, or whatever. And you're like, what a fucking scam that is.
So Danny, if people want to message you, maybe accuse you of being a Jewish plant, how's the best way for them to do that?
Generally, when I'm being called a Jewish plant, it's on Twitter. Twitter is more where that stuff's happening. So that would be Danny Jokes on Twitter. You can DM me there, or Instagram, also Danny Jokes. Or that's the best place to message me. Call me a Jewish plant. Yeah.
Anything else you want the listeners to know before we sign
You can check out my podcasts. I have 3 of them. Every Friday, the Boys Cast with Ryan Long. Dr. Mike was a recent guest on there. And every Monday night, I do a live podcast called Low Value Mail. It's a live call-in show where I have wacky people coming on talking about all sorts of conspiracies and weird shit. And then on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m., I do a podcast called The Bathhouse, which is also a live call-in show, live from the Stand green room. I'm going to bring you on.
Hell yeah.
And we'll do that. It's a fun time. And it's just mental people call in. And it's a fun time. And you can just find that on YouTube if you just search Low Value Mail, MAIL.
Hell yeah. Well, Danny, thank you for coming on.
Thank
guys,
you for having me.
Check all that stuff out. And remember, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm just playing ILs. You know I love you.
Thank you